Hey everyone, my name is Ashton Southern and I'm a senior here at Ole Miss, and I wanted to start this podcast, Sports, Sacrifice, and Salvation, to give athletes a platform to tell their testimony and their faith journey. Today I'm here with junior pole vaulter Aly Francolini. Aly, thanks for joining me.
Of course, I'm really excited.
Yes, I'm excited too. Okay, so first let's just kind of get to know you. Where are you from? How did you get into pole vaulting? Just kind of give us the backstory.
So I'm from Sarasota, Florida. Pole vaulting was not in the cards for me for a while. I played volleyball most all of high school, and then the track coach was like, "Hey, can you come run for me?" And I was like, "I don't really want to run. Like, what's the point of running for no reason? There's no ball involved." And so then I did it, and I started to run, and then she's like, "Can you pole vault?" And I was like, no, like I've never done that before.
Yeah.
And I started to do it, and I was bad at it, as everyone, because when you start a sport, it's just like, especially something like that, like
Yeah.
you've never done before. And I did it, and I was bad at it, so I was like, okay, I need to get good at this. So I started to do track and run, and then pole vault, and then it just kind of took off from there, took
Yeah.
over my life.
That's awesome. So what drew you to Ole Miss? Like, what made you want to come here from Florida?
I had no clue about Ole Miss. The only thing I knew about it was The Blind Side, which
Great movie.
great movie. Like, come on. And so I just did not know where I wanted to go. I was just praying about it. I was like, God, like, I have no clue. This is all on you now, because I have no clue. And then the pole vault coach here reached out to me on Instagram, which I don't use Instagram at all. So then I like sat there for a few days, and then I told my mom, I was like, hey, like, this coach like reached out, like, should I? And she's like, yeah, like, it's like Ole Miss. And I was like, Mississippi, like,
Right.
you want me to go to Mississippi? So that became a whole thing. And then I was like, yeah, I'll so we were talking back and forth, and then it's like, let's get you out on a visit. Came here, and I was like, wow, like, it is gorgeous. And I fell in love, and I committed actually at the airport when he was dropping me off. I was like,
Wow.
so I want to commit. And he was like, great, here we go.
That's awesome. I feel like Oxford is one of those places when like you visit, you're like, okay, I'm going.
Yeah,
That's
it was
how I
so
was, too.
pretty. I
Yeah.
was just like, pretty, the people, and I like fell out of my comfort zone. I was like, okay, that's what I need.
Yeah, definitely. So I know you're a part of FCA. What does FCA mean to you? Like, how has that helped your faith journey in college?
So I started FCA in high school, and that was a whole thing because I was not a believer. And so then coming to college and seeing that they had it here, I was like, this is perfect, because that's kind of what started my faith.
Mm-hmm.
And I started going, it's Monday nights, and it was really cool to see that even in college, that there was a group of people that were still determined to live out God's word. And I think that's hard to find in college, because you see the I'll get right with God later, or he knows my heart. Especially as athletes, I feel like we have a lot of opportunities that a lot of people don't. So to have those opportunities and then still choose to not do that, and to, give up a Monday night and be surrounded by fellowship and community, it was just a huge part that kind of kept me on the path as I got to college, when I didn't have to. Like, I was more so free. I didn't have as many guidelines.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you touched on community. What do you think, like, the community around you, how important is that to stand strong in your faith?
I think it's crucial. I mean, even when you look at it biblically, Jesus, when he sent out the disciples, he sent them out in groups of two. And he always says, woe to the one who has no one to pick themselves up. Or also, as iron sharpens iron. And so if you don't have that community, no one's there to hold you accountable. No one's there to pick you back up. And it's also about the right community and the right people surrounding you. Because if I go to one friend, I know I'm going to get like, hey, did you pray about it? If I go to someone else, it could be, hey, like, well, I would do this. And it's like, well, we're not called to do that. And so I think it's having not just community, but the right community.
Yeah. So how do you balance having to be an athlete, be a student, and stand strong in your faith? Like, how do you balance all of those things?
I think I struggled my freshman year, having my identity in my sport. I think a lot of athletes don't realize how much of their identity is in their sport, because you have a good day and you're like on top of the world, and then you don't have a good day and it's like you just want to go lay in your bed and like sulk. And so my identity was definitely in my sport, which I think finding that out, and then, realizing I had to surrender that to God so that he could work with that was a huge thing. And yes, we're busy as athletes, but what are you idolizing?
Right.
Like, everyone's busy. I'm not going to go against that. You could always wake up earlier. I struggle with that. But what's your screen time? Like, that's something that I got convicted on. I'm like, God, like, I just don't have time to go in my prayer closet today. It's like, you had time to scroll on TikTok. You had time to scroll on Instagram. And it's just, like, prioritizing him. So I try and give him the first of my day. I'm not a morning person, but I'm like, if I wake up an hour earlier and read and go sit in my prayer closet, my day looks drastically different. Like, throughout the day, it's little things can happen, and I'm just like, oh, okay, it doesn't matter, like, the joy and everything. So prioritizing him and giving him the first, a little expression I use is get in the word before you get in the world. So, like, the first thing we do, we set our alarms, we go on our phone, oh, who texted me, oh, who did this, like, go on Instagram, all this stuff. But it's like, leave the phone for an hour, go get in your word, go get in your prayer closet, and, like, talk to him and give him the first.
Yeah, I feel like I kind of do that too. Like, you know, I'll wake up and there are some days where I do go straight on my phone. And like you said, I kind of feel convicted about that. But then there are other days where I wake up and I just immediately turn on worship music or immediately get in the word. And it's like you said, I can like see a difference in my day. And it's like, wow, my day is really so much better whenever I like start with him. Yeah. So it's kind of cool that other people experience that too.
Oh, yeah.
So you talk about, you know, kind of the shift that happened, like you got convicted. When did that happen? Was it in between freshman and sophomore year? Was it beginning of sophomore year? Kind of when did that change take place in your life?
So I think a few things I think that aren't talked about enough is the heart transformation. So, like, before you modify your behavior, there's a change in your heart. And that's, I think they talk about in Ezekiel, like, I'll give you a new heart. And so freshman year around March, I think, I prayed and I was talking to God after an FCA, and I told him my identity wasn't in my sport. And I was like, God, if you were to take it all away, like, I'd be okay with that, which was a crazy prayer for me because my whole life I'd been an athlete, like, since I could remember, like, whether it was gymnastics, volleyball, soccer, softball, all these sports. And to pray that, I was like, okay. And I didn't expect him to test me on that. The very next day, I was trying to go to practice, and my trainers were like, no, we're actually going to get you an MRI and on your foot, because my foot had been bothering me. I was like, no, I got to go practice. Like, and the whole time I was like, it's fine. And then, so I got all the stuff done, didn't get to practice. I got home that day, and I get a call like, hey, we're going to put you in a boot, and then all this stuff. So then I was non-weight bearing for 14 weeks, I think. So not only could I not do the sport that I loved, like, I couldn't walk. Try getting around college campus on crutches. It was rough. So
I'm sure that was so hard.
That was a huge part of it. But honestly, throughout all that, in James, it talks about counting it all joy when you face trials of any kind, because it produces steadfastness. So the whole time I'd just be like, count it all joy. Like, when I'd slip with my crutches, I'm like, oh, count it all joy. So I think that, like, drew me closer to him and made me realize that my identity was in him, and that regardless if I was doing track, like, he loved me, and he loved me so much that I had to just, like, change. And I submitted to him by, like, reading and sitting with him and spending time with him. And throughout all that, he changed my heart.
Yeah, I think that's super cool too, because I feel like we ask him not necessarily to test us, but, like, you know, like you said, you prayed, like, if you took it all away, like, I would still glorify you. And then literally the next day, and it's like, okay, like, he really puts us in those situations to make sure that, like, our faith is strong and, like, that our life is actually grounded in him. And I feel like, you know, like you said, with the count it all joy, like, that's so important, because, like, there really is, like, he has a reason for everything. And so it's just really incredible to hear that, you know, you kind of went through something and then you came out the other side and you're even stronger in your faith too. So if you could give advice to a new believer, or maybe someone who doesn't believe, because you said you kind of went through that too, what would you tell them about Christianity, about Jesus?
That's hard, because I did not believe until high school. Some would say I would even, like, say I hated, like, all things Christianity. Growing up, I just, like, saw it, and to me it was like hypocrites. I'm like, you guys claim love, but you're mean, you're this, you're that. And so it was a whole thing for me. until I genuinely got to know God. And I think that's the whole thing is like, obviously as people, we're not perfect. We're never going to be perfect. And that's why I go into like talking about how we are walking representations of Christianity, because that was the whole thing for me. I'm like, these people claim this and act like that. So I think that's crucial. But honestly, just get to know him. And then also when you do start to believe, I think of it as, I was describing it to my friend about how she's like, you're so Jesus-y now. And I'm like, well, it didn't start like that.
Yeah.
Like, I lied with the cross around my neck. I did all this stuff. Like, and I described it as like when you go to the weight room, you don't just throw 225 on bench. Like, you slowly like work in there first. You learn the form and everything. So ease into it. And then as it grows, it just grows. But another huge thing for me was finding a mentor. I was lucky enough. I think God knew I wouldn't talk to anyone otherwise unless it happened kind of like platonically. But I had a teacher in high school who's so strong in my faith. We talk pretty much every day. And I'll just be like, hey, like, what about this? Like, questions and all this stuff. And she's just there to let me know, like, hey, like, this is what the Bible says. That's the thing. Like, you can have people surrounding you, but are they giving you their opinion? Or is it like, here's what Jesus said when this happened, or all this stuff? So I think as a new believer, finding a mentor, someone that you can be open and honest, like, hey, I'm feeling this, and like, I don't know what to do about this. I don't know why I'm feeling this. I think that's huge, because you can have that person to be like, well, hey, I don't know why, but God says you can go about it this way. And so a mentor was just a huge thing for me.
Yeah. And I think you kind of touch on this. It's important that people know that there's always a place for them. Like, even if they feel like, well, I don't know anything, I've never been to church, there's always a seat. There's always a place for them, with Christians, with Jesus. Like, he just wants to know us. And I literally went to Pine Lake last night, and one of the things he said is, I feel like we forget sometimes that we're literally God's children. Like, he is our father. So it's like, he's not going to like shun us or be like, you have to earn it. Like, we're literally his kids. So like, he wants to help us. He wants to be there for us. So I think that's just really important.
Yeah, I think we're, especially like as people, we think like, oh, we're not good enough. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
Like, the whole point is we're not good enough.
Right. Like, we're not good enough, but he is.
Yeah, he is. And that's exactly why he wants us. Like, he knows and he loves us. And I think that was a huge thing for me too, is as an athlete, you're like, okay, I need to get this perfect, do this, move on. So then I tried to treat my relationship with God like that. I'm like, okay, I'm going to be perfect, walk in this straight line. I'm going to read this many. And it became a checklist. And it's like, okay, I don't feel close to him.
Right.
Because it was more so the religion over the relationship. And when you do realize, you're like, I'm a child of God.
Right.
Like, the same God that made this whole world, made everything.
Yeah.
Like, made me and calls me. And we are the only thing made in his image. That's the other thing I think about all the time. This summer I was like jet skiing, and there was some dolphin, and I was like, wow, how beautiful. And I'm like, that's not even made in God's image.
Right.
And it's just like crazy to think about that.
Yeah, I think it's almost like overwhelming to like really think about it. And sometimes it hits me and I get emotional, and I'm like, literally this, like, I'll look at a sunset, like, I love sunsets, and I'll look at a sunset and be like, wow, that's so pretty. And then I'll be like, okay, literally the same God that makes that every single night made me. Like, he knows me. He like wanted to put me on this earth for a reason. So I think it's just good to remember that we always have a place and a purpose.
Yeah, I think we forget that way too often.
And I feel like it's so easily too in this world.
It's like, because if you don't have this, then you're not that, all that stuff. But then also being his children, that makes everyone else our brothers and sisters. I think that's something we forget all the time. How we're called to love one another above ourselves. Like, talk about counterculture.
Yeah.
Like, love someone more than yourself. And then also talks about putting others' interests above your own. Like, here it's like, okay, what can you do for me? No, God calls us to, first of all, serve. That's a huge thing I think I've been learning lately too. Not just in a church, but you look at Jesus, like, washing people's feet. God doesn't tell us to wash people's feet, but like, think about the people you see every day and how you can impact them or help them or serve others. Like, the janitor, like, hey, you see some trash, pick it up.
Yeah.
Like that is the serving that makes God proud. Like serve humility, all that stuff. And I think we often I love serving in church. Like I serve with the little kids on Sunday and then the parking team, but like we put that on a pedestal above our everyday. So you're going to serve, let's say just Sunday, and it's like, what about Monday through Saturday? Like what are you doing to serve others? Do the task that no one wants to do. And I think that's huge, and we don't pick up on that cuz we don't want to. Like
Right.
nobody wants to be a servant. Like Jesus, the Son of God, chose to come down and put himself in human form and just like take on everything and serve everyone. And I'm just like, why don't we pick up on that?
Right, exactly. Well, this has been so fun. Thank you for coming on and sharing kind of
Thank
your
you.
testimony and your journey. It's been really cool to hear.
It was great to be here.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.